Yeah, so I'm on the dating apps. And
So,
go for it.
you
Thoughts?
know I'm on the dating apps.
Yeah, we are.
We're testing them.
Okay, but what you and Homegirl are doing is funnier than what I'm trying.
Well,
Okay.
okay.
Why, now, before we jump into it, what are you testing? What are you testing? What waters are you testing?
That's an interesting question because
Should we even?
there's a lot of crossover. I mean, there really is. You see the same people across the different apps. It's very interesting, and then they'll show different photos and do different.
Yeah, but what you've also discovered,
Yes.
without revealing anybody's name
Yeah,
or
of course,
anything,
of course.
is that when you're doing something with a homegirl in tandem, they tell different things to her versus
yes.
you on the same profile, the same person, multiple apps. Because you, as you just said, you find them on the same different apps. We won't say which ones.
There's
they
a
are.
couple apps where you can share a profile, which is hilarious. You can go check this guy out. So we had the same algorithm apparently. Sitting next to each other with the same guy popping up.
This is how she designs her life.
I know. I was designing something. I don't know. It's an experiment that is
exactly.
It's an experiment, but it is very interesting what they'll say to us, even though it's within minutes.
But they're lies.
Well, I guess.
Okay, they're stretchings of truths. Can we say that?
I don't know. I haven't met any of them yet, so.
Really?
No.
Okay, well, one of the things that my Queen Kelly said a couple of weeks ago was that she's going to stop saying no, because what if when we're on certain materials for looking for love, looking penub in all the wrong places, if you see someone that just doesn't strike your fancy immediately, it's a swipe away, right?
Oh, it's actually kind of terrible. So the other night, I was out with a couple of friends and having dinner and meeting new people. Some of their friends have friends, and as people were talking and I was getting to know the people across the table from me, I was thinking of these apps and thinking, okay, if this guy is hilarious, so funny, so charming, so whatever, if he popped up on my dating app, would I swipe right or left? Not knowing anything about his personality.
Straight up.
It's
Straight
a
up.
thing. So that's when I said, you know what? We're just going to say yes to a coffee because it can't hurt.
Exactly.
It's not a terrible thing. Just go have coffee and say hi. And maybe you'll get that personality that you would never see in a photo. That's the thing.
Because some of us are not photogenic.
Yes.
And some of us are, incredibly so.
He is too.
And so there's this element where it comes up where I know, like, I choose on my profile, I choose to put the less attractive photos.
Really?
Yeah. Because
So that the expectation is low?
so when they meet
That's
me,
hilarious.
it's like, wow, you're really kind of handsome, or you're kind of cute, you're
Oh, stop it. I'm going to do that. I'm going to start putting, I don't know.
But she doesn't take bad photos, people.
Well, filters don't hurt either. You got to stop doing that. I have to say this, that it is a double standard. So men sort of expect women to have a little bit of a filter, but when men over filter and do the duck lips, what are you doing?
The duck lips are guys. Oh God. And there's another thing for men who want to design their life to actually have some stability in relationships sometime in their future. This type of stuff, when you're sticking your tongue out, for those of us who are going to be listening later, not cute.
Yeah, I think we should start doing a coaching program.
Why don't we get somebody in the weeks to come?
It's actually happened because I can tell the guys who have been coached and the different variations of photos that they've had. And you can tell the ones who have completely gone through a coach and they admit it.
So basically you pay people to do this for you.
You pay people to set up your profile and take good photos of you that are not just like in the bathroom selfie. And I know you can't see me, but you know what I'm doing because you've seen it, right? It's ridiculous.
Then people are designing their life to
meet people appropriately, like to show their personalities through photos, which is not always going to happen in a selfie. Especially for a guy who is maybe, you can see these poor guys, they're older and they just don't know what they're doing. It's pretty sad.
I think she's talking. I'm thin, young, and gorgeous. I'm 75 years old, children of the corn. And you are here with Design Meets Life with Lady Kelly Ellis. We are your go-to podcast for the discerning enthusiast of design, art, infotainment, gossip, and of course our distinct gift of gabbing. Who are you?
I'm Kelly Ellis, designer, host, All things creative is what I am.
Well,
Design
also,
psychology, and
and television superstar. Well, I'm going to call her television superstar. And her new show,
ex-
now streaming live on, well, if you're in the States or in the American regions, you can find that
yes,
at Design Network.
correct.
Over here, you find it on Pluto TV
Yes,
and Rakuten. And
yes,
later on, they do snippets as well on YouTube. Now, this place is called Extravagant Spaces.
yes.
Now, and you're also going to be doing a second season, are you
We
not?
are. We're ramping up for second season. I'm
Where's it
very
going to be?
excited.
Can you tell us or no?
No,
Okay. Well, she can't tell us where it was, but the last time was in Arizona, right?
it was. Yeah,
Hells to
Scottsdale.
the
Yeah.
Scottsdale.
Scottsdale.
Sandra Bernhardt's from Scottsdale.
That's beautiful.
Now, monthly, later weekly, we're going to be bringing you news and interviews with some of the world's fiercest creators, designers, and people just lovers of design, art, life, and how they design their lives, and give you basically the when, why, what of how they do this now today. Emmy.
I'm so excited.
Man, and he is a homeboy. He's a wonderful brother from Barcelona, where we are broadcasting. And today, Emmy and Gaudi winning director and writer, and also the most recent winner of the Best Short Film Award at last month's Sundance Film Festival. Shout out. Alex Lora is going to be joining us in just a bit, calling in from New York
Yes.
before his kids wake up. But Kels,
Yes.
speaking of, now we're going to when we do this, we're also going to be presenting Kelly's Corner and Lucas's Lair. But we kind of started with that because
We
we just
did.
had to.
We did.
And one of the things that I've noticed is I don't know how to let others help me.
I'll help you. Where do we start? Where do we start?
Now, weeks ago, in fact, when we were recording one for the can,
Yeah.
we talked about eventually we need to have you over to my house so you can say, I have so much stuff.
Yes.
I don't even need new furniture. I just need it, not feng shui. I need it.
Thank you.
I need a creative eye to see that and spot how I need to make things happen.
Yes.
After we record this, I'm running off for 3 days to hide in the mountains. It's 11/11, and I'm leaving my two babies, which both have 4 legs, with a family member.
Yeah, you know what he said though? He said here's the difference. That's what's really happening is he's leaving them with a family member. But what he says to me is this, I'm so upset. They're going to be alone.
I'm leaving them alone for the first time in my life,
They're
which
not
is true.
alone.
They're not.
They're not alone.
They're with my papa, and they have each other.
They're fine. Everybody's gonna
And
be
they've got
fine.
the Heavenly Father too.
Everything's
But there's
gonna be good.
when I'm in Lucas's lair, sometimes I realize that I don't know how to ask for help either.
Yeah, I think a lot of people actually have that issue. I don't really ask for help very often either, quite honestly. Have I ever said to you, hey, I want to talk about something, I need help?
I mean,
Or I just say it. I just talk.
you just talk.
Yeah. I don't think the actual words, though, come out of my mouth to say, I need help. I don't think I've ever said it, actually.
So what does that say about us?
I don't know. Maybe we're just,
That's something I want to ask Alex as well.
yeah,
As
that is a very
writer,
good.
director on both coasts, and
Yeah.
a father of 2 kids. It's like, come on now.
Yeah.
All right. How do you, I mean, maybe we're conditioned. And maybe it's something that's more from our region from whence we hail.
I think it's conditioned. I think it's definitely family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so not even from being U.S. North American. it's
No,
family
no, I
members.
think it's family. Yeah.
So who was the one who never asked, but then gave that, what is it called? Either righteous indignation or passive aggression. Can we talk about it? Because for me, it's my dad. My mom was just, oh my God. If you didn't do it, a knife came at you. So we just did it.
Yeah.
But with dad, there's and we actually went to therapy with my dad.
How'd that go?
It was really interesting.
Was it good?
Yeah, but I walk in there and his therapist was fine AF exclamation point. And my father hadn't told
Was
me.
he on a dating site?
I'm like, yeah, my father hadn't told me. This man is
Attractive.
good looking. He's between 34 and 39, and which is my age. No, I said I'm 75. I'm 75. And it was easy just to speak to him, but I was nervous because he was so good looking.
That is not a very good therapist.
Well,
Wow,
no, it's not
how do you have a
it's not his
therapist
fault for
that's
being
so-
good looking.
I know, but I think if I walked into a therapist that was really attractive, I don't know how much I would be really saying.
Would you? I mean,
I'd be
I
a
just
little
wanted to get
guarded.
on my knees, if you
I'd
please.
be
No.
very, very guarded. Yeah.
Well, you know me. Bleh. I gave it out because I was concerned.
What are you trying to tell me that you have no filter? That's weird. I don't
It's
think
quite
any
weird.
of us noticed.
No, exactly. And I told him that, because one of the things, the reason why I was there was that one time my father mentioned that all men of a certain stature, i.e., of a certain class, they have 4 faces.
Oh,
that they wear. And the first thing I thought was The Three Faces of Eve, starring Oscar winner Joan Woodward, but about multiple personality disorder.
right.
But then he talked about there's the face that men put on the street and at work. There's the face they put with their friends, the face they put with their family, and then the real man.
You know what? All of that just turned me off.
Yeah,
I don't want to meet any of them.
but it's
I'm not interested right now. That sounds terrible. Now I'm not going to be able to unhear that when I'm looking at some dating apps. I'm like, what face is this? I wonder.
but it's a concept that's coming out of modern stoicism thought.
Wow.
Not like the Seneca shit from back in the day. Modern stoicism. So I actually told this therapist as I drooled over him that I feel like sometimes this modern idea that's mostly focused on the masculine of stoicism
Did you
is
prophesize and philosophize in this therapy session?
yeah, he just wanted me to go stream of consciousness, and so I did.
Okay.
And I turned it into
You turned it into
and
a lesson?
I even turned it into a fact of, he's an Andalus in Catalonia, and he understood some things that we were talking about because it was an interesting conversation, but I only had about 20 minutes because, it was like
20 minutes to philosophize and then leave. Wow.
And he wanted to know about my ideas with my father.
He probably just went, okay, that I understand the relationship now, and then you just walked out.
No. He loved it. He was laughing, and then I left, and he had some sit down with my father. My father comes out of the building because I was outside, and he just comes and gives me a big hug. Like, thank
That's
you, Mijito.
nice.
And
You're
then-
basically just going and showing that you're supporting. That's
Exactly.
what that was.
And that's what
that
we're
was.
there to do. Tell you what.
That's great.
But it was also. We go out for a beer and a top afterwards, and he says, well, he tells me that I have a great way of empathy, but I just show it and express it in different ways than most guys.
Really? I disagree.
I'm like, what? I
I
just told him
disagree.
that you have a lack of empathy because one of the things that I
disagree with that.
realized from a lot of Latino people from our country
Mm-hmm.
is that they're kind of like, we have enough Latinos, we don't need the others coming in.
Really?
And so when we were watching this Kathy Griffin thing with my father a few weeks ago, and where she's talking about, when Trump blacklisted her and she was in the, remember all the drama?
I do remember that.
Okay. And so at one point she starts talking about Melania with that stupid jacket when she was going down to the valley where I was born in Texas, wearing that Zara jacket that said, I really don't care, do you?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yep. I
And
wanted
so-
it, actually.
But not about that situation.
No, I just
Okay.
wanted the jacket. But
My
she wasn't
father
being
basically agreed
thoughtful.
with her jacket and said he didn't care about the kids being thrown in cages and the
Well, I
separation.
think everyone does. Who doesn't? You're not
My
human. if you
dad said
don't.
he didn't, and I don't want to meter memismo. I don't want to get into these things because you try to get political, and I wasn't trying to get political. We were watching a comedy
Okay, I
show.
have to say this. I do. I understand. I understand because you will find the political bent of anything, and I'm more like
all
your
is
dad.
politics.
Yeah, I hate it. And my dad's a politician, and I absolutely
Straight up, you guys.
literally hate it. If we're at conversation or at dinner or lunch or whatever, and we're with someone else, and you guys just start riffing, I literally just want to get up and leave. I hate politics so much. Like, I really, truly hate
But
it.
she's registered to vote, kids, and we all
Independent.
need to be independent. Exactly, as the majority now of the United States.
I heard
is.
that. I heard that.
20 years
Do you
ago-
see what just happened, kids? We just went to politics.
Yeah, but we'll get to that in a different time. Now, we're waiting for someone else to join our Kelly Corner Lucas Lair, and I think
All right.
Alex Orr should be. No, we have to keep this real, guys.
Should we talk about the movie, The Short?
Let's do it, please. Because
think we
as we
should.
mentioned, he won the Sundance for the Best Short Film Award a few weeks ago. And,
Masterpiece.
and it is called The Masterpiece, and it is a 20-minute little masterpiece
It
of
is.
reality and any-kind. Now, obviously, this takes place in upper middle class Madrid.
Yeah.
With one of a shout out to Melina Matthews, who's actually,
She was
she plays
great.
the female character, the female role, the mom role in this. And as always, she just so eloquently flips through Spanish and English. It makes me so happy.
Yes.
So it's always beautiful to see my queen on the screen. And
It was very.
It hit
very
me, girl.
good. Oh, I'm sure.
It hit me.
I thought of you, and I was like, well, I know we're gonna have something to say. I hope that we have a chance to chat with him about it, but just more, how we do. We want to hear what's going on in his life. How he creates what he does. What's important to him. All the questions that we normally ask, but also in particular about this movie.
honestly,
It was
Because
so
what it's trying to say is
interesting.
also talking about what's going on
Right.
consistently right now.
Yeah.
Now, in everywhere. Now, when we think about something, this came up not too long ago. Um,
And we let where we get where it's left. Like you watch 20 minutes and you want to see another hour, honestly, of this whole short. But it had so much meaning behind it, so much story. I want people to watch it, so I don't want to say too much about it. I really want people to watch
well,
it.
and he's going to talk. The only thing, veo las preguntas, no la puedo. Okay, now what I'm reading from my brother here is that he does see enviar. Okay, he's gonna do it again. And what we have to obviously, my children, this is all live, kids. So actually, he is waking up. Alex Lott is
Yeah.
waking up before his kids do to do this out of New York City, and we are going to resend him this video link to do that. But
Right.
now he's gonna obviously come in
Join
just a
us.
second. In just a second, coming again. But one of the things that happens when you're having to do these kinds of things is to make sure that everything goes off without a hitch, and it's not going off without a
You know
hitch.
what? But that's okay. Hitches are real life, and we've done this a few times where we have people stream in, we have people call in, we have people. We record, pre-record, because the time
And
zones are
frankly,
crazy.
I love it, especially when I'm sweating like Richard Nixon here. I'm going to lay with this thing just a little bit. But one of the things also that I wanted to make mention before he came on was that he not only has been nominated for Goyas, which are the Oscars over here,
Yes.
the Gaudis, which are the Oscars for the Catalan film industry. He is a major Emmy Award-winning actor, director for a lot of programs, and specifically documentary program series out of New York
Out of New
State
York.
Television.
Right.
And what he does is focus on a myriad of people that, I mean, you would never think that could actually fit in a documentary series. And he does
I
that. He
love it.
lays them down and then he wins these Emmys for it left and
Yeah.
right. And one of the things that he had to do was basically move his family from Barcelona to New York City. And now they've
That would be a
moved
tough
over.
move. Sorry. I mean,
I actually think, okay, yeah, true.
that would
Maybe
be a
from
tough
Barcelona
move.
to New York.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that I have the right
Is he
correo from him.
all good?
I think it's going to be all good. Sir Eduardo, does he have the link? Tienes el link? Tiene el link? See?
Yes.
Okay.
Very end.
I think we're just going to be popping in just a moment.
Cool.
But we're just going to do some small talk about cinema and the techno.
Well, we were talking about moving your family from Barcelona to New York or New York to Barcelona, which would be difficult.
But I kind of feel, okay, so for me, the move from New York to Barcelona was way easier.
Oh, I'm sure.
Way easier.
I think the
Then,
other way around would be hard.
as a kid
Yeah.
in there, let's see.
Do we need our cans?
I think we might need the cans. It's going to ruin my hair. Alex, are you there? Yes.
Here, how are you doing?
And can you hear us, sir?
Perfectly. What about you guys?
I can hear you now.
Hello.
I can feel you now. I feel like Sally Field on the Oscar stage. Hey, boss, how are you, sir? Good to see you. Everything good?
Yeah, a little bit sleepy, but everything's fine.
We sincerely appreciate you doing
We
this.
do.
In fact, what time, Hefe, is it over there?
It's
New York.
6:22.
AM before the kiddos wake up.
Oh yeah. It might happen eventually that they come to. I came to the farthest spot in the house, so in order not to wake them up. But you never know.
Well, that was one of the things we were just talking about, actually, before we were having a little bit of that tech difficulty to sign in. But how do you design your realm, your life, and everything that you do when you have to be on often three coasts? You just got back from Florida. You've got two kids. You've got a wife. You've got all the projects that you're going on. How do you maintain or at least intend to stay grounded when you're dealing with all that?
It's difficult, for some people it does not work just to focus in one thing, but to focus in a bunch of things, I need to focus in one thing. But I don't know. For me, it's always been this way, a little bit, all over the place and a little bit chaotic. You have to accept that and even embrace that. Sometimes in chaos, you'll find, good things that can happen. And
in the chaos, you
and at the
say.
end, you in the chaos, yeah. And at the end, you only live once. So
There you go. There you go.
That
You
reminds me of
have
a
to try
Prince
to make
record.
the best.
One of the things that, let's get back to some of the nitty gritty here. You were born here in Catalonia, but you spent so much of the career between the States and Europe. I mean, I'm obviously flying back and forth. How does a young guy from BC manage to get and try his luck at so many different things, especially now that out of NY? Because that's, it takes its time, like any process.
Right. It's a slow process. I remember that being in Barcelona and something was missing. I don't know. I mean, since I was little, I was a little bit interested in other cultures. I remember to my parents asking them to buy me comics in Italian or in French, and they were a little bit like, well, but you don't speak a word of those languages. What's the point of those? And I was like, yeah, but it's a way to learn them, right? And yeah, the first time I think I was 20 years old and I went to live in Italy with this kind of Erasmus grant and I liked it. I felt that it was a good challenge to be by myself in another country and after that I could not stop it. Then I went and I lived for some time in Argentina. Then I don't know. I got a girlfriend that she was Greek, so I also moved to Greece for some time.
As you do.
As you do.
So
Another question then. When you do that, and that was obviously, early 20s, and you're leaving the nest, as we say, volando al nido, for the first time flying out of the nest, do you feel, because this is something I've been coming up with a lot of my uni students, do you feel it was that trajectory of leaving your house that really started your career, your life, or at least your life path?
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you have responsibilities, you have to find a way to deliver and fulfill those, right? And if you have a room that you have to pay, right, or trips that you have to pay, and then you find a way to pay those things, and that was a little bit what happened. I remember, though, that when I was 24, 25, I had to go back home and I stay with my parents a couple more years. But in my case was because, I have these healthy issues with my arm and the amputation and all these things. But once I overcame that, I left again. And we even with more determination, because I'm like, now I'm disabled. I want to prove to myself that I can be on my own,
Yeah.
So it was to prove myself that I could do those things, and it takes a lot of work. That's the reality. I think that I do, and a lot of people don't realize and take it for granted. I work a lot.
Yes, you do.
And in a lot of things, and
Keeps you going, doesn't it? Keeps your mind going, keeps the projects coming, because you are creating the documentaries that you do and the short films that you do. I'm just so curious, how did it start for you that you went, yep, this is what I'm going to do? This is the filmmaking is my vehicle. When was that?
I was interested in film since, I decided at a very young age. My parents like to watch movies at home, not the movies I was more interested in. For instance, I remember that the last movie I went to watch with my father was Unforgiven in 1992, and we went to watch it because he really wanted to, watch this macho western, and then he found something completely different, with Clint Eastwood being kind of in his, decaying or yeah. So he didn't like it, but I loved it, and then I remember, I don't know, I had to go to do my high school classes, and in the afternoons. Sometimes I didn't want to go, and in Barcelona there was, I think it's still there, the library of Del Miro de Caral. It's in Las Ramblas, at the end of Las Ramblas. It's the library of the Filmoteca.
Okay.
And I would skip classes, and I would just go there, and the librarian was so nice, and she was telling me, oh, you don't know who Godard is? I was like, oh, I have no idea. And she was like, okay, here you have this VHS, put it there, and that's how I started discovering the classics. And there was especially one that is called La Yete, directed by Chris Marker.
Mm-hmm.
That one was
I
made
know that.
out of pictures.
Yeah.
It's a 30 minutes movie. There is only one image in movement, which is a blink of a girl in a bed. And and I was like, if this guy made a movie out of pictures, I can make movies.
Exactly. I
And
saw this at
Yeah.
Filmoteca
I
10
was so
years ago,
cheeky,
man. I saw this at Filmoteca 10 years ago. But
right?
was it something that was more avant-garde that inspired you? Was there a specific director and or movie, I wonder, that inspired you to get
The one that made me think that I could also make movies was especially this one, because it was made out of pictures, a voiceover. And then I remember, it was different times when we were studying a high school. They would ask for written papers, but there was one professor that would accept something different. And then I was, recording with my father video camera, and she would accept those kind of papers
Yeah.
as something different. And that was the film. I thought I was so cheeky, and I thought that I compare myself with this kind of master filmmaker with Chris Marker, and I said, if he can, I can do it. And that's how it started. Yeah.
Fantastic. I love it. So what took you to New York in the first place? Was it just the opportunities or different inspiration? Why New York?
Um, I
think
think
quickly?
all started in 2008 with the crisis.
Okay.
That was the starting point, because it was difficult here to get gigs, and I also was after people to pay me back. There is still some people that owes me money from that period, to be honest.
Hi, remember that?
anyway.
Yeah.
If they hear this, they know who they are.
And they will in the next month to come. Okay. Wow.
So what can you do? It was tough times for everybody, and then I started looking
Especially then.
for these grants, and I heard about La Caixa grant, and I heard about the Fulbright grant, and I just started to
Great. Yeah.
to apply and make what they were asking, and I was lucky enough to get one of the Fulbright grants, and then moved to New York. My idea was to stay there for a year because my English was awful. Now it's a little bit better. But
It is very,
I'm
it's
still
very
working on it.
good. It's
Oh,
very
it is
good.
fit as a farm
Better than
side.
my Spanish.
So yeah, the idea was to go there for maybe a couple of years and then come back. But
There you are.
I made my base here, and yeah.
Hell yeah.
Great.
We were talking about the film. Just a little bit,
Yes.
the Sundance
The
winning film you just went from
masterpiece.
last month, the masterpiece. And I don't want to give too much away, but if you can talk about that. I didn't know that one of our dear loved acquaintances here on the show, Melina Matthews, actually played the female lead. And I just shout out to Melina always. I love that lady. But why the concept of this, without obviously giving too much away,
Yeah,
because
we
it will
want
be
people to
coming out,
share
I
it.
presume, in some of the streaming platforms now. But when you win, when you win a Sundance Award, you're obviously getting recognition from Robert Redford's crew that this is the finest short film that they'd had there. What inspired this story? Because I did shed a tear, as I often do. I'm
great.
not emotional at the end.
It was great.
What inspired that besides the reality we're all
Thanks,
living in?
guys. Thank you so much. What inspired it's the reality we are living in.
Straight up.
The original idea is not mine. It's from Hugh Skillet, who is also a filmmaker and a good friend. And when I'm in Barcelona, I still keep a very little apartment there in Barcelona. I mean, I'm still paying for it. It's the bank owes it. But now, when I'm not there, my parents, sometimes they are tired of being in the village, so they stay there in Barcelona. And when I go there, I stay with them, or so every time I go to Barcelona, I see him because we are neighbors. He lives 1 minute away. And this time he was telling me about, I met one of these guys. I was talking with him. And I have to admit that I had mixed feelings. If I'm completely honest, I endure a severe prejudice while I was talking with them. And then...
In which way, if we can
talk...
talk, which way did you incur that prejudice?
My friend, I mean, he was being very honest. And he was like, at some point, I thought that I was helping, but I also thought that I was being taken advantage of. you know, and maybe that's not real, but that's a feeling that I had.
So it's real for you.
You know, and exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So after that, he wrote a version of the script, and then he wanted to direct it, but then he said that he would be busy, and I usually tackle this kind of social issues in my filmography, so maybe it was better if I would direct it, and then I fully immersed on the project and rigs it here and there and made it happen.
It's great.
And yeah, Melina was amazing. Yeah. Also because I really wanted to include the English and French, because Spanish, of course, they are the language of colonialism, and Melina speak natively all of those.
Yeah. Yes.
Like 4, 5, 6, 7 languages. I don't know. It's amazing.
And incidentally, folks, she also hosts a lot of the film festival awards that go on here, like Sitges and things of that nature. So if you ever get a chance, do check her out. One of the other things I want to talk about, being discerning with the projects. Like when you take on this one, you had just finished Unicornios. Now you're working on another one that we're not going to talk about, but Jesus Christ, this is some heavy material that you're going to be working on this next year with this new project you and I talked about months ago. How discerning do you feel you have to be with these projects that you take on? And are there any secret things you would really like to see come today with you as the director at the helm of it? So how discerning do you have to be, and secret projects that make
really
you
want to
happy?
do? Yeah.
I think it's important to have conversations with yourself, even if it seems like, you know, and sometimes even out loud, you know. You go in the shower and then your wife comes in and is like, who are you talking with? And you say like, oh, I'm sorry.
Myself.
Well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Can I make a side quick note? That is the question 6.
That really is.
It really is.
It was a question I was going to ask you, because design psychology is my passion, and we're just going to jump to it really quick.
Please.
And so, design psychology just is the whys of design, right? And I'm always so fascinated by people, their surroundings, right, and where they're creative and where they're most creative. And I was going to ask you that. So, what place? It could be the shower. It could be anywhere. It could be a corner, a room. But where are you most creative? Where do you get most of your inspiration?
I'm gonna say, but don't take me wrongly, in bed.
Okay.
To be honest.
Okay. No. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not right. Yeah.
Rock on.
But to be honest, that's what works best for me. Especially there when I'm feeling very, very tired. I think I'm getting like more creative because everything gets mixed in your head, and there is some places that sometimes when you are very aware, you don't have access.
That's right.
And sometimes I'm kind of falling asleep, and I just will wake up and run to take the cell phone, and I write things down.
Yes.
And then morning after, I'm like,
what the heck was that?
Oh, this doesn't make sense at all. I mean, I didn't know what this is, but some other times they make sense. And then you are like, oh, I think there is something to pull here, right?
Yes.
So for me, that's the place. And then, of course, the other place is when you are working.
Right.
Okay.
That's when it happens the most. If you're writing a script, when you are really writing the script or writing the treatment, you know, it's
get in the zone.
And then you complement it with things that you read or the things that you wrote or with the things that you saw. But the moment is when you are actually making it. If you are editing, when you are editing, right? If you are shooting the documentary, when you are there, you are open to see what else can happen, right? And you are pointing with the camera somewhere, but your eyes are like, you know, looking everywhere.
Observing.
To see, yeah.
Could I ask you a silly question? That's not on the list I sent you last week, but empirically, are there moments when, I guess empirically, when you're doing your own shooting, where you feel like, okay, no, we have to stop all this, and I'm going in a different trajectory, like your mind just goes in a different route, and you change the scene right then and there?
It happens. The crew hates it.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
I mean, in documentary, it's easier. But for instance, in the last feature, I encountered that issue a bunch of times because at the end, some of the things you are planning them in abstract, you know, and I really like to play chess, but I'm not Kasparov or, you know, or I'm not a grandmaster at all. So you have a limit and then you might be planning something. And then when you go to set, it does not work. And and I'm sorry, it's a pain for everybody because the director of photography made her or his plan of light, right? And I'm asking to do something different, so that's our job, a work that needs to be redone, or maybe the actors suddenly can feel a little bit more insecure, or some other actors might feel that this is a challenge and it's nice, right? But it happens, and I think it's good it happens because especially if you realize, what it would not be wise is to stick to the plan if you see that the plan is not working.
Yeah.
Correct. What about those any secret desires of things you would like to do? Like, would you ever want to helm a Jurassic Park like Bayona or something like that? Or would that just be, no thanks?
Oh, yeah.
Really? A huge, budget project?
I would like to, yeah, of course. I think in order to make them little personal, projects that I do, I always find a way. But in order to do these big projects, if I have the chance, I would like to try it. There is a movie now that I actually wrote it last year, and it's a science fiction movie about a colony in Mars. Like 5 people that are sent there, and they don't know, but they are an experiment to have the first Martian, which is going to be a human, of course.
Okay.
So to birth that first Martian there, and they are not totally aware.
Oh, wow.
Do you like this sci-fi genre?
Sorry. I like it, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Next question then.
I love it.
You were talking about the last feature that you did, which was up for some candidates here
Yes.
for the Goyas and the Gaudis as well, which was called Unicornios, with loved local actress Greta Fernandez. One of the things you talked about not too long ago when you and I had a sit down was that you see certain discrepancies and or differences between the generations of new actors versus actors who are a bit more mature.
That's interesting.
In their career. Mm-hmm. What are some of those things that you identify that you noticed with younger actors, that 17 to 29 crowd versus people who are a little more established in their 30s, 40s, 50s? Be nice.
I would not just... it's I don't want to be rude, because at the end it's very easy for an older generation always to trash the youngest generation. I don't think it's even fair.
No, exactly.
But each generation comes with their own issues and challenges and also wonders, right? So one of the wonders, I think, is that they know they have a lot of talent, and they are not afraid to state it. I think our generation was like, I have to work hard and my moment will arrive, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And here now is like,
I'm good, and you should know it.
Exactly. Which I think it's great.
Great to which point? Because then it comes off as egotistical, doesn't it?
It can, yeah. I can see that, though. But I think this generation, the younger generation, and I know you experience it, Alex, with the very, we call them precocious, is our word for them, right? When they're
exactly.
young actors that are like full of, we are like, oh, they're so mature, right? They act like they're adults, but I think it's just because they're so used to be exposed, right? Like, we didn't grow up with social media. We didn't have cameras on us every day. It was a big deal to have a camera on you.
Does that freak you out as a father?
Oh,
because my sister's children are badass adults. You've got younger ones. Does that freak you out to see the social media plaguing them simply? I mean, always?
A little bit, but that's something that I tell them, that I want to trust them, and I trust them.
Yeah.
And at the end, this is the only thing you have, you are trying to raise human beings. They'll, at some moment, they'll have their own life, and you can just hope for the best, and at the end, I'm pretty sure that they'll make mistakes, but I trust them, I trust that we love them and they were raised in an environment of love the same way I was,
Yeah.
and they will do things that are not right. I remember I also have a daughter in London. She's 10 now, and she was showing me the things that she's been recording with the tablet, right? With her friends and this and that, and everything was so nice. But there was one that she put the tablet in in the bathroom, and she was kind of doing things that maybe she's watched in other videos, right? And then I told her like, this is not great, and I'll explain you why. Because you are playing there, you're about to get into the shower, you're with a towel. What if the towel falls and then this video gets stolen or whatever? And accident
Exactly.
can happen, and this can put you in trouble. So what's the need on this? On get this risk, and if you tell me that it was worth it, then I'll understand. But now I don't understand it. So can you elaborate on this? And she was thinking, and she was like, yeah, I think I made a mistake.
That was a
Then
nice
you
way
can,
for you
do it
to.
on
That
your
was
own.
nice though for you to give her the space to explain herself like an adult and not just come at her, And that's not hard, that's not easy to do because I have two daughters that are now women. They're, adults, but I remember these moments and it was, I don't know that I gave so much latitude or leeway for them to express themselves that way. And there's moments like that you think, wow, I probably should have not told them what they need to do, more listen to them come up with the solution, right? And that
Maybe
was
Socratic, like Socratic method. You
Yeah.
question their questions with that. My sister
That's great.
handled my niece a lot more like that. Recently it's come to light here in Iberia. I'm going to get back to a little bit of nitty gritty. Here in Iberia, most people don't leave the family home until they're past 31. You mentioned a 10-year-old daughter, so theoretically it'd be 21 years that she's still going to be with mom and dad. No, I'm kidding. So when you go back to the creating the world that you have to design your family, your filmmaking, keep yourself inspired, aware as a dad and all that, you've also had to overcome some trauma that you mentioned at the beginning of our interview, being an amputee in your 20s. That never stopped you as well. So do you feel like you impart some of that initiative, that inertia to your own kids? Like, not even this can stop your daddy, so you don't have an excuse. Do you ever feel like you have to push that onto them? I'm curious about that. Okay.
No, I don't use it as an excuse, and now I don't even think about it, to be honest.
Totally.
Yeah.
And people, I mean, people don't make me think about it either. It happened. It was funny. It happened when I was in Spain last month. It was the first time that I was in the subway, and this lady came in, and she thought that I was a tourist, and there were other people there, speaking in English and in French. So she thought that I was not going to understand her. And she was like, "Oh, all these gears. Oh, and this one only has one arm. So disgusting, And then I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry that I'm disgusting for you," in Spanish, And she felt so embarrassed. I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought that you were not going to understand me." And I was like, "No, I understood you. And you have to know that that's very rude, because I didn't decide this to happen to me, right?" And she was like, "No, I'm really sorry. I've been very rude." So this has been the first time in 25 years that someone was kind of rude to me. But usually this does not happen. And then I don't think that I'm a disabled person or anything.
Hell yeah.
And of course, if I don't feel it and people don't make me feel like that, why do I have to use it, to either take advantage or to,
Right.
give this toll to someone? It does not make sense for me.
What are you working on next? I'm curious. Without giving, again, you can't give too much away, but what are some of the projects you're working on next? When will people be able to see
Masterpiece?
Yeah, Masterpiece and Unicornios as well, because I did not find it on Film In, and I'm obsessed with Film In. So I'm wondering, when is Unicornios going to be out on Film In or any platform, frankly?
He was there for a month.
Okay.
But I think now they'll have to renegotiate until,
Gotcha.
a moment in which I'm also planning a limited theatrical release in New York about the movie. It's screening at the Museum of Moving Image by the end of April. And hopefully in September, we'll have it probably for a week in New York and LA. So that's a little bit the plan.
Great.
And
That's
still
awesome.
it's being submitted to film festivals. And now with the masterpiece, with the short film, some people ask for it, like, hey, maybe we can make a double show, like show the short film and then the feature film.
Great.
So I think it will get back to filming, but
Hells
it
yeah.
just needs some more time.
Hells yeah.
And now I'm working on my next feature film, which will be shot in Spain, specifically in Ripoll, and it's about a guy in Ripoll in 2017 that has a Spanish mother, a Catalan mom, and a Moroccan father that kind of abandoned them, and he's grown up in Catalonia, feeling that he's so Catalan, but his color of the skin said something different,
Wow.
like, oh, you don't belong here, right? So the movie starts when he's 18 and, he feels anger, something is not working for him. So he starts like trying to discover his other side, right? His Moroccan roots and culture and all these things. But the thing is, he does it in the worst possible year of the recent Catalan history, that was 2017, with the referendum, the terrorist attacks, and in the worst place, which is Ripoll. And I chose to do that story also because my parents have been living there in Ripoll for the last 25 years.
Wow.
And I grew up, like 2 minutes walking from La Rambla. So, it touches us to all of us, right? But
honestly,
and it's a movie. At the end, it's a movie about identity,
So again, dealing with very heavy material, not with very heavy material, but please.
But the way that you do it, that is what is so it's so universal. It's very interesting because there's a lot of filmmakers and directors when they tackle these really heavy issues that plague us in every country, no matter where we are.
Christopher Nolan.
Right. But then you get the way that they do it is so in your face that it makes you polarized. The way you do it is you shine a light.
And make people think.
And that's it. And it's it's a quiet way of addressing very heavy issues that I absolutely love. And I just say, yay, thank you for that. Because you don't make me feel a certain way. I'm not angry because of the actions that the people are doing within the film. I'm not, I'm not instantly creating I hate this character, love this character. I'm just watching and I'm thinking and thinking and thinking. And I loved it. I love the way that you present that with so much space. It's just, it's refreshing.
Even the little kid when he's trying to
everybody.
From the masterpiece, I'm thinking not necessarily Unicornios with Fernandez, but the way that he's having to, what's going on? Grandpa gave me that bike. What the hell are you doing? You know, you take it. Well, you make people think, or make people. I guess I'm wondering is one of the things that you like to do with your cinema, with your films that you do is leave it to the person to make their own decision and what happens with those characters, with those plots. Like with this one, the one you're creating right now. I mean,
thank you so much. That's a little bit the goal. I like that the films don't give solutions, just ask questions, and at the end, you take them and you do whatever you want to do with those, right? And some people don't like it. They don't feel satisfied, which I totally understand. For instance, I was presenting the movie last weekend in Martha's Vineyard, right? And there was this guy that said, I also got to watch one of your documentaries online, and I think, the way you end the movies, it's not gratifying for me, And I was like, and is this good or bad? For me, it's bad, because I wish that, that I would get something out of it. And I thought, and I told him that if it's gratifying, sometimes you just leave the theater or the room, and maybe that's not the stay much in your mind. When something it's it gives you this uneasiness or it itches,
Yep.
maybe it stays longer. And if it pretends to be thought-provoking,
Yes.
maybe I was tending to not giving a kind of gratifying ending and leave it open. Or so at the end, it's a decision. But I think that if it's not that gratificant or gratifying, I think kind of propels you to think about it.
Exactly. I think some of the best movies ever are when you're still talking about them as you're leaving, right?
And
You're
thinking
still,
about it.
yeah, you're still thinking, you're still talking about it, still a conversation. You haven't closed it wasn't yippee skippy and then yay and they walk away and they holding hands and everything's happily ever after. Because it's just not that's not life,
That
right?
is not live, and
Yeah.
that's what that actually that comment makes me think about how you're going to imbue that or infuse that into the topic of this new cinema that you're shooting, because I mean
That
that is the
sounds heavy.
heaviest topic that we've had to deal with in the last 5 years.
The
Was
new
that
one, yeah.
2017 was
Yeah.
here? I mean, even as much as the pandemic, that really affected the people. And look what's happened with the. No, we're not going to get political, but with the elections that have happened since then. Now we got another one coming up in May. I hope you're registered to vote, Alex. Just saying. But can you vote from New York for the Catalan elections here?
Not for this one. Not
Okay.
for this one because it takes time. I've been voting from here,
Oh
but then
yeah.
because we moved to Spain,
Hmm.
then we moved back in September. Then to be honest, I've been very busy with the change and the other projects, and
Straight
then
up.
so long story short, I registered late, and I'm not gonna
Make
get
it
my
for this
ballot
one.
in time.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. For
Lucas will
this one, I
forgive
I,
you.
I will make it.
But
Lucas
let's
will forgive you.
Mm-hmm. And we're gonna start wrapping it up. Lucas will forgive you, and I'll shut up. But but also here comes the ye age old question of what
Uh,
advice would you give your 15-year-old self? What advice would you give your 15-year-old self about pursuing your creative ambitions and desires, the things that you've been doing? You look back a couple decades, say, yo, 15-year-old, what would you say?
Oh no, I know perfectly. I mean, I would tell him to enjoy the ride and accepting that the life is very complex, that people tries to simplify it in order to understand it, but it's fine. You have to accept that it's complex and labels are not working for you, and be more impatient.
Hmm.
That's what I would tell him. Because sometimes I think that I've been patient, like, okay, the moment will arrive, and at the end, life is so short.
right.
So sometimes you have to be more proactive, and instead of being like, okay, my opportunity will come, and I work hard for that. It's okay. You work hard, but you also have to go to look for opportunities because you have to make them happen.
That's
That's
right.
and that's something that I learned from the coming generation.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was fantastic advice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Straight up.
you're talking to a couple people who did exactly what you did, pick up and went to a different country and went, okay, I'm going to do something else. And that's kind of a running theme for us is
And also
having the
impatience,
bravery.
not
Yeah.
having patience.
We
That's
don't have
another running
patience.
thing.
Yeah. Having
That's
bravery.
too
It's
many
great.
years in New York, I think. Hefe, thank you so much for doing this, being here today.
Yes.
And I'm glad, I hope that you're a little more awake than you were 30, 40 minutes ago. But you look fresh as a daisy, sir. Fresh as a daisy. Are you going to go make breakfast for the
Love you
kids
too.
now?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, Jefe. Okay, remember, folks, you can also follow Alex Alora Cercos as well through the social media webs as well as Instagram and all that good stuff as well. He's going to be, again, hopefully doing an in tandem release in certain places and hopefully as well on Filmin and other streaming sites of his award-winning masterpiece as well as Unicornios. And then somewhere between now and 2025-ish, we're going to be looking for that next film as
Can't
well.
wait. Can't wait.
And remember, if you ever need us
Thank you
as
so much.
extras in the background of a Ripoy scene, you
Oh,
just
yeah.
let
You
us
know where to
know.
find
We'll
us.
be there.
You can play an annoying tourist.
Who will not say anything
No.
bad about anyone.
I'm a nice one.
Jefe, thank you so much for being here. Mr. Alex Loracercos, thank you so much,
Yes.
man.
Yes.
Power to you and the people.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. Thank you.
And I'll see
Take
you
good
next time
care.
around. Take
Talk
care.
soon.
Ciao, babe.
Bye.
So, bye.
He's so cute.
Ah, he's a badass. He's a badass.
I like the cans. I'm going to leave these on.
You like the cans?
I do.
They mess up my hair, so you know how we roll up in here. But that, again, is another beautiful one with award-winning filmmaker Alex Lora in the can. And, of course, we're going to be getting all of these things together in the can so we can launch in the next few weeks.
Yay.
And remember, as we sign off and send you off into your holiday, everything you do in your life is designed by you.
Exactly. We see our lives as something that you design and be intentional about it every day. And we want to hear stories, right?
And set that intention.
That's right.
Especially when we go off live. We want to hear more about those intentions, the things that you want to set, how you're designing your life to make that happen, and how you keep a little bit of peace in there. Remember, put yourself in your roles. I know especially a lot of my single dads and moms, mothers in general, we don't always include ourselves in our lives. Please do that, okay? Okay. And we'll be back next time with more goodness for your ear and eye holes. And until then, we will see you then. And another mad shout out, as we always do, to the beautiful jazz pianist Giovanni Gizzani, who leaves us his beautiful music to play us out. Folks, design meets life. Remember, Kelly and Lucas love you. We'll see you on the flip.
Bye.
Bye.